I had my wife read from the book of Hebrews because it is about the promises that God has made to Abraham, which was a faithful man, and because it came to the point just to make sure that we understood the promises that he swore by himself. There's nothing greater to swear by. Because let's say, for example, we were to swear by the sun. Do you realize in about 3 billion years the sun is going to disappear? It's going to burn out. And that doesn't last very long. So God has made promises to all of us. And the great, the gift that he has given us in his son, again, reiterates the love that God has for each and every one of us. The unfortunate thing is, though there are no exceptions, people take exception to God, and they will not accept his being for who he is and what he is doing. So today, I have been thinking about the Apostle Paul writing to the church of Corinth. And as Paul's talking about all these things that you can do and all the talents and all the abilities that you have in 1 Corinthians chapter 12. And then he begins what we know as the love chapter. And he says, you do all these things, but if you don't have love, you're as a tinkling cymbal. But then he ends up with enumerating three things, three characteristics that are vital and important. And he says, you must have faith, hope, and charity, or faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. And I was thinking about, well, that's a kind of a simple statement. We just need to have faith, we need to have hope, and we need to have love. What I think that sometimes we don't realize when it comes to faith and understanding faith is the fact that this faith is not a Nike commercial. Just do it. Just believe. Because Jesus makes some incredible statements about faith and to his disciples, and he gives them some opportunities to be faithful. For example, he said, well, if you had faith of a grain of mustard seed, the smallest amount of faith, a seed, you could move mountains. Now, how many of you believe that? Well, we believe that. How many have tried it? Well, it would certainly save a lot in terms of moving mountains and adjusting things if we could do that. If we had faith, we could walk on water. Jesus did, and the disciples tried it. If we had faith, we would trust in him. What we need to realize, though, brethren, when it comes to faith, faith is a God characteristic needed to live life in a broken world. But it's also a characteristic of God that we live even in his world, that we trust in him, we have faith in him. So not only is our world broken, but each of us has our own breakage. And when I think about our own breakage, there are just situations where we're broken in different ways. And not only that, we have other people around us that are also broken in our broken world, which create problems for us. We may have people in our lives who are having health issues. We're not exactly sure what's going to happen. Exactly sure. It's probably more about timing, and we think about, well, if God wanted to, he could heal him, and then we begin to think, well, if God, God is love, why doesn't he do these things in the time? Because faith, brethren, or trust changes how we live and how we think. But faith in and of itself. Now, for example, if you get a new car, all the parts are supposed to be new on it, and you have confidence in your new car that'll get you from point A to point B, and you're not worried about it. Most of us in our lifetime have had a few jalopies, which we're a little bit concerned because they're old and we can't really trust things about them. Unfortunately as well, people who have lived in relationships that have not been faithful, and the lack of trust, and there's breakage there. So what I want to focus on, and it may seem minor in a way, I just want to focus on the end of the faith chapter and a statement that is made about these individuals who were faithful. Because there's a point that I want to make and help us to see and to think about that maybe we hadn't really thought about to the degree I'd like for us to think about, and hopefully God would like for you to think about as well. So it says in verse 39 and verse 40 of Hebrews chapter 11, the faith chapter, these all were commended for their faith, yet none of them received what had been promised. God had planned something better for us, so that only together with us would they be made perfect. And herein lies part of the problem that we face when it comes to faith. In the King James Version, it says all of these people received a good report, but they didn't receive the promises. So it's a bit problematic in terms of being faithful. Well, when is this going to happen? And how will this happen? Faithful people who endured and received a good report, but not the promises. So it becomes a problem with people, with all of us, when we have to go through life attempting to be faithful to God, things not happening the way that we would like for them to happen, and we begin to question God. Now, I think it has more importance than we may realize on the surface, because Jesus made a statement, and this statement comes up into my mind when thinking about faith. In Matthew chapter 24, when his disciples had asked him about the end of the age, the end of time, the time as we know it and the like, and this is a reality that we all face from time to time, and we're concerned about. We have such terminology today as World War III. And when we think what people use, World War III, what do we think? We think about the end of the world, because there are nuclear bombs, and you know how things escalate and get out of hand. I was reading a novel now that's talking about a cobalt bomb, which is a dirty bomb that, you know, could wipe out millions of people and leave landscapes desolate for 100 to 200 years, uninhabitable. Well, we know Chernobyl, where that nuclear reactor, those kids are still suffering all kinds of problems and difficulties because of that. So we think about a world. We have scientists that are trying to get us out of this planet and looking to space to find a planet that is inhabitable, because what could happen to this earth if we don't take care of it? But Jesus, the comment that Jesus made here in Matthew 24 and verse 13 is this comment. But he who stands firm to the end will be saved. In the King James, it says, he who endures unto the end. So I'm going to talk today about enduring. And we're going to talk about enduring, and the next three sermons are going to be about this. 1, enduring in faith. 2, enduring in hope. And 3, which sounds ridiculous, enduring in love. Because I think it's important to recognize that our lives, when we look at it, we have to put up with some stuff in our lives, and we have to endure things. And I believe when the Apostle Paul wrote that, he put that in an order that is needful. For example, you have to have faith in order to have hope. In order to have those things, you have to have also love. You have to trust. And so Jesus speaks about enduring unto the end.
Feeling the blues today, or tired of life already? Do you have questions about life, or need spiritual advice. The Worldwide Church of God is located in Fairfield, Santa Rosa, and Modesto, California. We welcome everyone to attend our worship services with us every week at the times listed on your screen.